Good morning once again. This is the Morning Mindset edition of the Live, Build, Change podcast. My name is Carey Green. I'm a retired pastor who is now building businesses online to support my family and to produce great things in the world. Part of that is just the fun of supporting team members, people who have young families and are passionate about following Christ in their own lives. And I get the joy of being able to bring them on my team and train them and have them working alongside me. That's one of the things I love. But that wasn't something I ever thought I would be doing. And the reason I never thought it was something I could do or would be doing is multifaceted. One aspect of it was I was very content as a pastor for many years. I felt that was exactly where I should be, and for that season I definitely was. But God began stirring something in my wife and I, just saying that this calling toward pastoral ministry in the local church was beginning to wane, and it was no longer what we were going to be doing. And that challenged me in the terms of my beliefs. I believed I would probably retire from pastoral ministry at a ripe old age. I thought it would be my lifelong calling, and I would wind up poor but happy at the end of my life, living in some retirement home somewhere. But the reality is God took us out of pastoral ministry earlier than we expected, and He put me into the entrepreneurial space where I began building businesses and trying creative things and things that I guess were inside of me all along, but I had never recognized fully because I was embroiled in this other career. So all of that just to say there were very good and real reasons why I didn't ever think of myself as an entrepreneur. But since working as an entrepreneur and building my own businesses, there are some things I've noticed also that I would call limiting beliefs. Things that I believed about myself, about my ability, about who I am in the world, that kept me from even considering that I could build a business or that I could start a movement like Live, Build, Change to encourage Christ followers to build a business of their own and to change the world through their efforts and letting God use them as an instrument. And some of those limiting beliefs I've been able to identify. I'm sure there's quite a few others I'm yet to find. It's kind of a discovery process as you go along. But a few episodes back, in episode 169, I walked you through an exercise of how you can begin to discover some of your limiting beliefs. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that. Listen to it a few times if you need to in order to understand the process better. And do that exercise so you can identify some of your limiting beliefs, the beliefs you have that are limiting you from receiving and living in everything God wants you to receive and live in. I'm basing this whole thing off of the fact that we all believe things that aren't true from time to time. But I also am basing it on Romans 12:2, where the Apostle Paul tells us we are not to be conformed to this world, but we are to be transformed by the renewal of our mind. See, our mind is where our beliefs reside. And what we believe will affect how we live. In fact, it will dictate how we live. And so if you have limiting beliefs, untrue beliefs, don't you want to conquer those? Don't you want to change those so that you can be transformed by the renewing of your mind that takes place as a result? That's what I want for you. That's what I want for every Christ follower, because as we live with renewed minds and transformed lives, we are going to shine the glory of Christ in this world to a greater degree than we ever thought possible. And there we're going to bust another limiting belief. So I want to encourage you today, no matter what you have going on in your day today, I want you to recognize God is in the business of transformation. But you have to partner with Him in that as a Christ follower by renewing your mind. When Paul says, do not be conformed to this world, I think he's pointing somewhat to our limiting beliefs, because our limiting beliefs often are patterned after the way the world has taught us to think and the things the world has taught us to believe. So you today can be renewed in your mind and transformed. Ask God to show you how.